Hey everyone, this is Jim Doyle. I just want to take a few minutes and go over the syllabus just to point out some highlights. Um, and so, as a reminder, our course runs from March 6th through April 30th. So, April 30th is the last day of our course officially, and so any assignments that haven't been submitted by April 30th can't be accepted. So, I just wanted to make sure that I point that out to you before we get moving too far along here. So this is just basically a quick overview. You could evaluate the course description on your own. You can go through the online learning. For those of you who are new to online learning, one of the key things is our course week, and our course runs from Monday and ends on Sunday. So typically most of our assignments are going to be due on Sunday, except as we get towards week 7 and 8, where assignment due dates may vary. We tweak them a little bit so that we have time to make sure we evaluate your work before the end of the term. Okay, so take a look at this little introduction section here on online learning. Here's my contact information. My phone number is 909-367-8994, and this is my email address. Feel free to use either one. You can send me a text message or call if you have an urgent question. If you leave a message or text me, just make sure you tell me who you are and what class you're in, so I know where to find you. Okay. Again, but feel free to get a hold of me anytime you have a question. Doesn't make any difference if it's during the week or on a weekend. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Our textbooks, you can either use the 4th edition or 5th edition of the Smith and Greenblatt textbook, Governing States and Localities. Not sure if you're going to be able to find the 5th edition. If you do, that's great because that's a more up-to-date edition. But it looks like the publisher is transitioning to a 6th edition. So when that happens, those 5th editions may be hard to come by. So either one will suffice for the class. The chapters are the same as we have here in Blackboard. So, but again, if you can't get the 5th edition, it just has more up-to-date information. And our other book is the Van Veetchen, California Politics, a Primer. It's a really easy reading book, but it really has a bunch of good and useful information. If you're not all that familiar with California politics, this book will definitely educate you a little bit on how things work in Sacramento. So I think it's a really good book. So you'll need either the 4th or 5th edition, and you'll need the Van Veetchen textbook. Okay, so hopefully you get those as soon as possible if you don't already have it. You can go ahead and take a look at the course outcomes here. The assignment overview. This basically is just going to highlight the different types of assignments that we have throughout the term. So online assignments or written assignments, we'll have those. Blog postings, we have those. Application exercises, critical thinking assignments, quizzes, exams. Our paper is an integrated policy paper. It's to be 6 to 8 pages. It's a research paper on a policy related to state and local government. So the topic selection must be approved by me in advance. And in week 2, you'll need to submit that to me. I can give you guys some ideas on what to consider. You could also browse through your textbooks on state and local governments. You can write something about whether or not you think that people receiving government benefits such as welfare should submit to drug testing. Some states require that in order for you to get welfare or some other subsidies. All right. You could take a look at recent issues with immigration at the state level or at the local level. Some states are passing legislation to try and shield illegal immigrants who have been in the country for some time from deportation. Just an array of things out there in terms of public policy that states and local government have been doing. Another one, for example, is California recently raised the smoking age from 18 to 21. And so those are the types of public policy issues that you can think about. Like I said, I have a list. I'll try to get some of that information out, but really the textbook is a good place to start. If you find you're interested in some chapter, maybe healthcare or maybe education or some aspect of criminal justice, then you can take a look at that from a policy perspective. Okay. So again, it's going to be a 6 to 8 page research paper on a policy related to state and local government. Again, I need to approve the topic, so that's in week 2. You need to follow APA format, so make sure you're familiar with that, but I'll provide you guys with a good reference link as well. This paper requires at least 10 references, so you can start working on your topic and then start maybe thinking of different references. Obviously, you can use your textbook as one, articles, newspapers, articles, things like that. So again, start cultivating your idea on what you want to write about in terms of an integrated policy paper. This policy paper requires you to follow an outline which we supply you. I'll go over that here in just a second. If you follow the outline, you'll do great on the paper. It's really pretty straightforward outline, and it covers the material that you need to cover for the assignment. So I'll make sure we go over that here in just a little bit. Okay. So here's an overview on how the points are distributed and what the assignments are. You can take a look. So we have application exercises, blog posts, quizzes, so forth. I'm not going to go over all of these, but I do want to talk about the assignment in week 3. There's a critical thinking assignment in week 3 using a multimedia platform, and it has you describing and identifying California elected officials. This has you using VoiceThread. So when you have time, there are a couple of instructional videos in week 3 that help you navigate through VoiceThread. But VoiceThread is really a very simple process to use, so try not to get all worried about it. But I would encourage you before week 3 to explore that a little bit, open it up, take a look. You get to use it for free, which is why we have you use it. And it's really a good way to learn a little bit about some of the technology that's out there. And at the same time, it saves you from writing, and you'll be able to identify your elected officials. Okay, so I really think that's a good assignment. So again, take a look at that in week 3, so you have a good idea as to what's expected in terms of VoiceThread if you've never used it before. Again, so we have you using all different types of platforms here. Let's Get Political is just basically you taking the little quiz to see where you fall on the political spectrum, and then writing about that. Political participation, those type of things. Have you reading some articles and responding to those. Week 5, we have you take a look at local government and understanding charter cities, non-charter cities, state of the city addresses, what they try to accomplish. So we have you looking at a couple of different things in week 5 just to get you back on the local level. In week 6, we have a balance in the California budget. It's actually been an exercise we've used for quite some time for this class, and I think people find it very useful and helpful. It gives you an understanding of the complexities associated with the California budget process, and if the revenues aren't there, programs have to be cut. And so in this particular exercise, you can decide what programs you're going to cut. Again, a couple little exercises towards the end here in terms of education, healthcare, those type of activities. Our integrated policy paper is going to be due in week 7. I will highlight that in just a little bit here. Our final exam, and then we have a midterm. Both of these are essay questions. There's 4 or 5 essay questions. So I would try to steer you in the right direction before those assignments take place, just so you have time to start working on them, or at least identifying the areas of the textbook where you'll be able to seek the answers to those questions, okay? All of the assignments except for the final exam, you can start and resume later. The final exam is a timed exam, and once started, needs to finish in one sitting, so you need to allow yourself time to do that. But again, I will supply you with the areas that you need to focus your efforts so that you're not completely off guard when you begin that assignment. Okay. So again, this is just going through the weeks that we have here. Week 1, what we talk about. The application exercise here in week 1 is Federalist Papers, and the only thing you might want to do here is take a little extra time to go ahead and make sure that you allow yourself sufficient time to read this paper. sometimes students have to read it a couple times to get the gist of what the author's trying to say, in part because of the English language at the time. But so allow yourself time to research that, and then the textbook will help you in terms of understanding federalism. So you can look at the information from our textbook and then as you read the article, okay? So that's, just something that you might want to allow yourself sufficient time this week. Again, sometimes we have articles to read. So for example, in week 2, I have you reading an article called Bowling Alone. And it really has to do with political participation by the citizens of the country and people like you and I, and why we do or do not participate in some of the civic duties and responsibilities that you would think that people should have. Okay. Again, a couple other exercises we have. Application exercise, a redistricting assignment. It's basically an interactive assignment, and then you write about your experience. So take a look, go through here carefully. Remember, allow yourself sufficient time throughout the week to read the assignments. Read your chapters, and then allow yourself sufficient time to work on your specific assignments for each learning activity section for each of our weekly assignments. And I think that's pretty much it. I do want to go over the late policy assignment this week. And before I do that, let me talk about rather effective contact. I would suggest that all of you please make sure you check your emails on a regular basis, not just for me, but for some of the other classes. Legally, I can only respond to you via your Lancer email address. So if you email me from work, I may tell you to log into your Lancer mail and send me that same question, or whatever the question is. A lot of that is for legal reasons. That way, the theory being that the only who has access to your Lancer mail is you. And so that's just a key thing that you remember. I'll try to get back to you guys within 24 hours, either phone, email, or in person. Timely feedback for your work is 72 hours for minor assignments, so that's basically 3 days. And maybe a little bit longer, up to a week for major assignments. So anything that has an extensive lot of writing associated with it, you give me anywhere from 3 to 5 days. I usually try to be pretty prompt in getting your stuff done. And usually my goal is to get everything done by Thursday, but sometimes I may run a little bit longer than that. Okay. Real quick, I just want to go over the late policy. Late assignments will lose points as follows. Anything 1 to 2 days late is 10% off. 3 to 5 days late is 15%. 6 to 7 days late is 20%. And absent instructor approval, no assignment will be accepted after 7 days. Okay, so I tweaked this for this class. I'm going to experiment with this late assignment this way. So there really should be no reason why you shouldn't get stuff done in a week. All right, so again, make sure you're familiar with that. The only thing I have here is late blog postings will not be accepted because it sort of defeats the purpose of a blog. The blog is designed for your classmates to sort of read what you have to say. And so, if everybody's moved on, then you post a late blog, nobody's going to read it because they moved on. So basically, late blogs won't be accepted. So I'll zero those out on Monday. So just remember that. Late work will not be accepted after the course date ends on April 30th. So just remember, our course ends on April 30th, so everything has to be submitted to me by April 30th, all right? And I think those are the highlights I just wanted to talk about. The paper guidelines look something like this, the policy paper format. I will have that attached to this announcement so that you can take a look at it. Again, if you follow this guideline, this format here, you should be just fine in terms of your paper. So take a look at that, start thinking about a topic, because you have to submit me something here in week 2. And then I think you'll find that there's a lot of issues out there in public policy that you might find yourself willing to research, or at least something new to explore. Okay? Outside that, if you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to reach out and contact me. You can contact me via email, phone, or text. Again, if you leave me a message on the phone, just tell me who you are, and same thing with the text message. Okay? I wish everyone a blessed week, and I look forward to interacting with you. Thank you. Bye.